are listed as co-host.
Yeah.
It's working.
It is.
Board member,
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ed August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Michelle Rand,
Okay.
boards administration.
And Jace Correa, Department of License and Inspections.
okay, anybody going to be testifying in the hearing, please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay, Jace, go ahead.
All right, this is BBS case number MI-2021-004176 for 3415 and 3417 Haverford Avenue. For the record, can you please state your name?
Sure. My name is Jared Klein, Klein, from Blank Rome, on behalf of the applicant.
Everybody, could you state your
All right.
names?
Roman,
My name is Roman Sosalski. I'm the builder for the project.
Dan,
I'm Daniel Cavella. I'm the property owner.
Kevin,
Kevin Correco. I'm the owner of Core Design Architecture.
I'm Mark Wallace. I'm the project architect.
Okay, whoever's going to present the case, go ahead.
okay. I'm going to let Mark share his screen and take you through the plans. I'm just going to very briefly give you the context of why we're here. Just so the board understands, this particular property is somewhat unique in that what we're doing is an adaptive reuse of what was an existing church building. And that church building has a mural on it on the side that is of some significance to the surrounding community. So what we're attempting to achieve here is adaptive reuse of the building. We could certainly have demoed it and done a new construction that would have avoided these issues. But we're trying to preserve the structure and the mural, and that's what's driving the refusals that are before you today. And that's as much as you need to hear from the lawyer side. I'm going to let Mark share his screen and discuss the plans.
Okay, go ahead.
Mark?
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting it. All right, so everyone sees the drawings.
Mhm. Yes, we do.
All right, so as Jared stated, this is two parcels with an existing unity of use. What we decided to do was connect these at the first floor and independently move up throughout the building in for either side on the units above. So there's at the first floor, there's a commercial unit and two residential units. There are existing openings along what is currently a property line, but since we are using these as a one parcel, we're hoping to seek relief for the windows fire separation distance as they're shared in this courtyard. And then as we extend up, the buildings do step away from each other further into the plan. So we do have alternating windows in that area as well. Also, the rear yard of this property is 25 feet deep. So we do not have access to a right of way, and we do have bedrooms that open up into the central courtyard. We would say that with the sizable rear yard on this property, that there's more than enough of an area of refuge for occupants to exit the building safely and be safe while they're waiting for rescue. We also do have on the east side of the building, there is currently a parking lot that it is open to with the medical center that was developed in 2007. It does not look like it's changing its use anytime soon.
Did you work out an arrangement with the parking lot to gain access?
We have not. And is that something you'd be interested in, reaching out to them to see if we can maybe place a gate on the fence on that side?
Yeah, and a recorded easement that, allows access to that.
Yeah, we
25
could,
foot isn't enough. We are, the standard's 50, so that's an issue for us.
And we can,
Also, we wanted, the biggest goal was to keep these buildings intact. The only way to provide access to back there would be to knock this entire building down. So the building is not currently sprinklered. We're going to fully sprinkler it in our proposal. We're more than willing to offer up extra sprinkler heads at all of the opening points that are listed in the refusal.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we're okay with the openings that are kind of between the two parcels, as long as this remains one, one building with unity of use. I want to confirm, there are no openings that are problematic on either of the other property lines, are there? It's only the kind of the one between the two parcels?
That is correct, because the existing structure on 3517 goes all the way to the back property line. We have no windows along this. We do have windows along the rear of the other parcel, but again, that's a 25-foot fire separation distance. We're way
Right. Yeah.
our percentage of glazing for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just going from our sort of typical kind of projects that we see, I mean, we do have a concern with bedrooms, dumping into the back without any way out. So I think we would have a proviso for, a recorded easement to egress in an emergency through the adjacent parcel. I mean, the only thing that you could do that we, just for future reference, that, we have accepted on occasion, is allowing a tunnel, essentially tunneling back through a building where you're re-entering from the backyard and then out to the street. While that's not allowed as of right, we have typically accepted that. It looked, we took a quick look at your plan, and that would obviously be problematic, but
If we were to, at this first floor, we have this 2-bedroom unit here. If we were to provide egress back through this space and into our egress, our egress enclosure through here, is that something that you would be willing to consider then?
Still only one exit really at that point.
we want to guard against the possibility that we'll have a recalcitrant owner of the parking lot who may refuse to give us an easement. So we'll certainly approach that owner about that. But it would be good to have a sense of what a plan B might be if that owner will just not cooperate with us.
Yeah, so essentially, like I said, so we would eliminate this bedroom and create the corridor all the way out to the front of the street.
could that corridor be next to the existing corridor there? I mean, at a certain point, I mean, I guess.
One exit, but does then provide egress out of that space.
I'm just wondering if that path could be isolated from the stair coming down. So essentially you're on a ground floor corridor that take you through and out, kind of with a doorway next to the.
Yeah, it's like a double loaded hallway there, right?
Yeah, kind of where you have the red line, but carving out of a little bit of what's there. I mean, in that case, it would be independent of, I believe. Yeah, the other way. Is that true?
The whole idea, Kevin, is if the stair is compromised and none of the occupants from the second and third floor level can't reach the public right away, having a tunnel alleyway that goes back into the exit enclosure to access that public right away kind of defeats the whole purpose. So that's why Ted was stating to have a tunnel alleyway that's right next to it, as long as it's completely enclosed and has no penetration into that stair enclosure. That's what he was stating in that case.
But again, I think if you are able to secure the easement, we wouldn't
Sure.
look to go that way.
Right. I do not disagree at all that an easement would be the best outcome here. I just, the cynical lawyer in me assumes that the other owner might not be as cooperative as we'd like.
Yeah, you're not representing them, are you?
No. But we can certainly make that outreach and, report back to the board as to whether we're able to find a solution that way.
Yeah, I think you would either get that or you would resubmit a scenario where you were providing that path from the rear yard back through. I don't think we're comfortable with, just leaving it as is, with no second way out.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
Understood.
That makes sense. Is the best process then, from an administrative perspective, to leave it open while we have that easement conversation?
So
yeah, we can continue it.
we can continue it.
Yeah, let's do that if you're willing, and we thank you for that. Let's do a reasonably brief continuance, and I'll reach out to that owner and see what we can do.
Okay,
Yeah, in the meantime, you might want to draw up the plan B just quickly for yourselves, just so you've thought about it or thought it through.
Of course.
And just a process question on that. When we come back with a continuance, we would just present that plan, or would it be a new application?
It'll be the same application for.
Same application.
Right. Okay. Very good.
Okay, guys, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let everybody know. They're being recorded. Yes. Everybody's in.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and get started, Debbie, if that's okay.
No, just wait, we'll start. Wayne, you're muted.
I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Michelle Rand, Boards Administration.
Jace Korea, Department of License and Inspections.
Okay, everyone going to testify in the hearing, please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Signify by saying aye. Okay, all right. Jace, go
Aye.
ahead.
Okay. This is BBS case number MI-2021-004183 for 3700 Walnut Street. For the record, can you please state your name?
Hi, this is Josh Eisenberg with Ann Bea Architects.
I'm Kufan with Office of University Architect at University of Pennsylvania.
I am Arthur Gager from with Jensen Hughes.
Greta Cooney, University of Pennsylvania, Department of Design and Construction.
I'm Eva Liu, Office of University Architect.
Okay, whoever's going to present the case, go ahead.
Hi, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Hi, like I said, my name is Josh Eisenberg. I'm the project manager with Ann Bea Architects here on behalf of the University of Pennsylvania. We also have our code consultant, Arthur Gager, with Jensen Hughes on the call, and a couple other individuals with the University of Pennsylvania. So what you're looking at here on screen is a floor plan, which includes the condition in question. The project builds an addition between the Graduate School of Education building, which is here to the north, and Steidler Hall to the south. So the upper level of the addition, if I zoom in a little bit, which is what we're looking at here, overlooks a double height space. And you can see two of the three walls, separating the surrounding areas will be separated with a traditional 1 hour fire rating. Third here, which is a glazed wall, and this is the condition in question, is proposed to be separated with a Tyco CWS window sprinkler system on both sides of the glazing in order to achieve that 1 hour fire rating. And to give you a different kind of perspective on the condition, This is a section perspective view looking to the south. This yellow line represents that glazed wall. The CWS window sprinklers would be on both sides of the glazing. And there's a metal rail that would essentially protect the glazing from pedestrians or storage on the floor side of the glass. And just the last drawing that we have to share with you is just an elevation of the glazing from that upper level looking back towards the glazing wall. So those window sprinklers would be on each bay in accordance with the ICC EWS testing, or I'm sorry, ESR testing report. And Arthur can get into, I think, maybe speak to a little bit more of the technical aspects of the ESR report, if that would be helpful.
Just one quick question, that the lights of glass, the 4 lights of glass there, what's the approximate width of those?
Approximately, I think they're a little bit over 6 feet wide. The window sprinklers are tested basically, you know, they require a 6-foot separation or a baffle between the sprinklers so that you know, you don't achieve cold solder.
Right, okay.
Okay, thanks.
And you have them on both sides of the window?
That's correct. Both sides of the glazing, that's right.
Yeah, so I talked with Jay about this a little before, or a lot before this variance hearing. It sounds like you are, you know, I thought you got some people here were at least aware of the sprinklers, aware of the approach. It sounds from the questions I've just heard, it sounds like people here are relatively aware of the design system, the ESR, and the product data sheets. Our plan is to follow the ESR and the Tyco, you know, WS or CWS data sheets really to a T. You know, we're going to use we're planning to do a full height metal rail. I guess coincidentally and luckily, this is next to a ramp that has a metal rail next to it with it for a handrail. So the intent is to pull that handrail all the way down and have a kick plate along it to prevent combustibles from ever hitting that glass on the occupied side. So I think we're putting, you know, doing is, you know, and those are usually the issues we see with this approach, like how you're keeping combustibles from the glass. Are there any questions about this, or, you know, other thoughts or questions you might all have?
And do you think by sprinkling both sides, that gives that a rating of an hour?
With so the system's been tested with this ICC ESR report, goes over the testing, and you see that will reference AC, what is it, AC 385, which essentially says you have to comply with ASTME 119. So it, you know, you have to comply with ASTME 119, except you're using sprinklers in lieu of just like a gypsum or traditional CMU or brick wall. So it will. That includes a hose stream test, unexposed temperature rise, really everything.
Anyone have any other questions?
So basically, you're saying this is just as good or better than a 1 hour rated wall, this design. It's kind of like the performance-based approach, right?
It is. Yes. And you know, I think I'm gonna say a little bit better of like a traditional performance-based approach where I might just offer my insight or offer my thoughts, which you could agree or not, you know. There is this ESR, which ICC has really supported that too. So this has been something that's tested and listed by Tyco to be an equivalent.
Okay, I mean, that's what we usually look for is a listing on this. So I don't have a problem with it, guys. I mean, it's up to the board, but the fire code doesn't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it either. So if that means anything for Ted or Amy.
Yeah, I'm fine. Amy, you're muted, sorry.
Okay with it.
Okay, all right. We're good with it. Okay. That's it, right? All right, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Sure.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ed August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Michelle Rand, Boards Administration.
And Jay Scurria, Department of License and Inspections.
Whoever's going to testify in the hearing, please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, Jace, take it away.
All right, this is BBS case number MI-2021-004514 from 1904 Mount Vernon Street. For the record, can you please state your name?
B. Robinson.
Michael Egnall.
Okay, whoever's going to present the case, go ahead.
I'm going to present the case, and this is an existing single-family 4-story building that Mike occupies with his family right now. It's in an RM1 zoning district, so the goal of the improvements is as an investment property for his family. We are proposing a 3-story addition to the rear of the existing 4-story building. And we have new zoning in place, and it was zoning by right for the 5 units and the size of the addition. The new work on the property includes framing a new stair with a 7 riser, 11-inch tread from the 1st floor up to the 3rd floor. There's 1 unit on the 1st floor, and that's our type B unit. On the 2nd floor, there's 2 units. On the 3rd floor, there is also 2 units. In the basement, we were going to leave that as is. That's just for storage and building utilities. The plan is to keep the existing stair going down to the basement, separate the basement from the rest of the building with a 1-hour fire separation, including a 1-hour shaft wall on the underside of the stair, the new stair going up to this from the 1st to the 2nd floor. The unit on the 3rd floor in the front in the existing building, we designed as a bi-level. And this is where our variance is coming into play. Because of the existing 4-story building, we are not allowed to have that single means of egress. But we purposely designed it so that that unit in the front on the 3rd floor is a bi-level. The travel distance from the most remote point on that floor is approximately 71 feet 3 inches. We are also proposing an NFPA 13 system throughout the building, including the basement. So we think we're meeting the intent of the code while working with the existing building, and it is a historic building. The lot is just 19 feet 9 inches wide, and we feel like a second means of egress on a lot of that proportion is impractical, considering the size of the lot. The proposed addition was purposely kept to 3 stories so that any of our new building construction is in keeping with the IBC table 1006.3.31. So that's our first variance. Any questions?
Is there any hardship? Or is it just you wanted?
Just simply the proportions of the lot being just 19.9 to add a second means of egress to serve a single unit.
And serving 2 units. The one in the front, the one in the back on the 4th floor.
No, there's only one in the front on the 4th floor.
I thought there was a rear bi-level too.
No.
Oh, it's all roof deck, okay.
Yeah, we purposely kept it to 3 stories back there. So it's really just in the existing building, 3rd floor front. We designed it as a bi-level unit, like I said, that's 3rd and 4th floor. There's no other 4th floor being proposed.
And Judy, is the 4th floor being reconfigured in that unit?
It is because, right now it's a single family.
Right.
So, we're turning that third and fourth floor into a unit. Right, bedroom that's up there.
Understand, yep.
And Judy, I actually discussed with the board members on the email that you sent me in regards to the window well in the basement level.
Yeah.
And the landing. The landing that you were talking about, that's the existing landing going into the property, right? From the street.
I'm not quite sure what my question on the, oh, no, I know what you're referring to. Sorry about that. The stair going into the basement, you'll see it.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, my drawings, whatever's gray shaded, that's existing building. We were keeping all that in place. However, so he brought up the question about swinging that door in, but we made the decision to, let's go ahead, change that door out, swing it out, and put a 60-minute door there. Because one of the other things that the building plans examiner brought up, that the preliminary plans examiner did not, was that he wanted us to enclose that stair going down to the basement. I was hoping we could look at that as well, because if I'm looking at the existing building code, what I was thinking of in terms of this is that when we are changing the use, I can give you the whole code stream here. The plans examiner was citing 1023.4.
Yeah, that's usually the unfortunate thing with this is because it's from an R3 occupancy to an R2 occupancy, and that's an increase in means of egress hazard category, and that's the reason why means of egress was observed that way.
Yes, but what I had sent him, and I haven't heard back from him yet, was in that means of egress to a change of a higher hazard. It directs you to, it says stairways shall be enclosed in compliance with the applicable provisions of section 903.1. 903.1 takes us to 802.21, and it says is applicable only to openings connecting 2 or more stories. And, since it's an existing stairway, we're closing off the whole downstairs, doing the shaft, putting the 60-minute door at the top of the stairs.
And you're not changing the occupancy of whatever was down there anyway. It's still being used
Exactly.
as a storage facility.
And then I also found another exception in the IBC, 1019.3 exception 2, and it doesn't quite apply, but it says that you're not required to have that enclosure if it's contained within an individual dwelling or sleeping unit. And obviously that's not the case.
That's not the case here. Okay.
Yeah, but it's its own thing. It's just for storage and utility.
Okay.
So I was hoping we could talk about that one too.
Okay, I think the main thing was the means of egress that the board wanted to talk about, and then we could talk about the other variants.
Yep. So any questions?
Well, Judy, I think you mentioned it, but I just wanted to reiterate that in terms of hardship, the building is historic, so we don't have the luxury of creating a second means of egress in the frontage because it's protected. So that just adds a complication that might not necessarily exist with other similar buildings and footprints.
So,
But is there access to an alley at the back, however?
Not to the alley, but to a rear yard.
And how deep is the rear yard?
If you scroll back, let me scroll back to the site plan.
Here. I have it on
There.
screen.
There we go. It's about 16.4. Oh, sorry.
But wait, but it says existing alley.
Sorry. Oh yeah, there's that alley back there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just don't feel like it goes out anywhere from like neighbors have cut it off, adjacent neighbors.
How far away from your building can you get in the alley?
You can, if you're willing to, march through all the dead possums and tree branches, you can get to 19th Street.
But you can get out there, right?
But here, you probably could find a way out, but the thing is, the 4-story isn't located back there. Right? So that's not even, we need the second means. We need the second means in the front.
But you need it from the 4th floor and from the roof deck.
Well, the roof deck is part of the unit, right? So.
Right. But it's on a 4th level.
On a 4th level. So are you saying, Ted, that, where we have the pilot house for that rear unit on the 3rd floor, that even though it's the private roof deck for the unit, that needs 2 means of egress off that?
Not the pilot house, but that roof deck does. But the front, the front portion, even though it's existing, it's reconfigured. The use has gone from R3 to R2. So, in 2009 code, bi-level would have, meant that second means of egress wasn't required. But 2018 code, it is required, even if it is bi-level.
No, and I totally understand that, which is why we did the preliminary plan review. But, in this case, it's an existing building that we're working with. Like, we didn't build a 4-story building. And I do think that we've done everything we can in working with that 4-story building to meet the intent of the code. The travel distance isn't that far. It's like I said, 71'3" to the enclosure, the stair enclosure. We're not gonna, this sounds silly, of course, to say it, but it's kind of true. We're not lobbing off the 4th story, to get rid of this problem. I know that's kind of an inverse way of thinking about it, but.
Right.
I'm just looking on Atlas. I don't see any alley at all. Noted at the back.
Stopped.
But Atlas doesn't show any lines of an alley at all, anywhere along those back yards.
But it is written up that way in the deed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where that came from. But like I said, I didn't remember seeing it going anywhere either.
Yeah.
I just think it was overtaken by.
Yeah. But you guys shouldn't be penalized because somebody else has closed it off somewhere else down the line.
For the caucus?
Yeah.
Okay, Deb, put them in the waiting room.
Okay.
Okay, we don't have a problem with the exit well in the basement, but we do still have a problem with the second forms of egress, and we're gonna need that. We'll make a variance for you to use a spiral staircase. It makes it a lot easier and it's a lot cheaper, I believe, if you want to do that.
It'd be in the backyard, and you'd have to put a gate between the 2 roof decks so the front unit can come through the roof decks and hit a spiral staircase into the backyard.
Okay.
Oh, but that's only if there really is an alley that they can have access to.
Isn't there, this might have gone away in 2018, wasn't there a part in the code about if the depth of the rear yard was like 10 feet or something like that, as long as you could get 10 feet away from the building?
Judy, it's 50 feet.
50 feet.
50
Oh,
feet.
geez. How's that for my memory?
So the board members are saying like, you'd have a gate between, so you have access for this unit, go across this roof deck, and then put a spiral stairway in the rear here.
I think that sounds reasonable, but do we still run into the issue that we don't have a way out of that backyard?
Well, you said there is an alley, but it's full of dead possums or whatever. If you can get out to 19th Street, then it's viable. But if you're telling us you can't even get out to 19th Street, then it's not viable.
No, because there's a building on 19th. I'm Googling it.
I have it up on Google.
If
Do
you
you want
can
me to
get,
share screen?
Yeah.
if you can get into the alley and get, 20, 30 feet away down the alley, even if you're blocked, I mean, as long as it's a deeded alley.
I can't share screen.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna stop my share.
Okay.
Maybe we can get to 19th Street.
So
Now,
if it's here, and if there is an alley back here that you can get to 19, then it's viable.
I'm looking at 19th Street because now I think yeah, if you go to 19th Street, if you get yourself to 19th Street, there is a little gate there between this, there's a single story structure and then another brick structure.
This gate.
Not that one. If you go past the red doors that were.
I just messed up. Now I don't know where I am. Oh, there I
No, you're at the right spot. Yeah, keep going down 19.
am. Okay.
Okay, now turn yourself around. Yep. Go a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, right there.
This
See,
gate?
yeah, I think that's the alley gate. Does that sound right, Mike?
Looks right.
Yeah,
Can you line up with it so we can see how far we can see?
I mean, I'm not gonna like guarantee that there's not a whole bunch of crud, in the
You
alley.
can clean that up.
Yeah, but an alley, legally, it's an alley, and
Yeah.
So Mike, what do you think about that idea? If we put a spiral from the deck at the rear, can we get those plans up again? Get to the third floor or the roof deck?
I'll let you do that.
Judy, would it be possible to drop the spiral off their roof deck straight down at the side there?
I think that would be really tight. It would be nice if we could do that, but per code, it's got to be, I think the diameter is like 5 feet and we only have 5 feet. You need for your fingers.
And then you're only stuck in a side yard, aren't you? You can't get out.
Like you see, I don't know if you guys are from lot line to lot line, but if you get dropped down here, you're basically landlocked between this building here.
Right.
So,
No, that's let me make sure I'm remembering this right. That you can walk under that. You can walk under that on the first floor. You can see that in the elevations on 1A 2.2. So that's just a cantilever in the corner.
okay.
Yeah, it might not be that clear on that rear elevation. You can see where it says wrap posts under metal finish with blah, blah, blah. It overhangs there, but it's open to the window in the back. Anyway, you can walk like that, so you're not.
Like I said, I think the board is giving you the variance for it to be closer than 10 feet. Just make sure it's non-combustible. The thing is, I think what you said, Judy, was that it is 5 foot, so you guys are going to be pretty tight. I don't think you want to go over that lot line, so you might have issues with the adjacent neighbor,
Yeah.
Either or. All right.
It will, okay. Yeah, and Mike, we'll just have to make some adjustments, like where the windows and stuff are in front of that window. Okay.
All right, guys.
Are we okay with the, because the other one that the examiner brought up was enclosing the stair in the basement. We had the means of egress, you said we'll be okay with, but how about that comment about enclosing the basement?
You should enclose that basement with the 1 hour there, but you don't need to provide the window well per the variance per the board building standards.
So you want us to enclose that basement stair, even though the whole basement is now 1 hour? You know, because we're doing 1 hour ceiling down there.
So the other issue with this is if you open this all the way up, if you open up to the basement level, right, that will be considered 4 stories. So that means that whole exit enclosure is required to be 2 hours, right? So if you close
But
off
we
the
did-
basement,
We did. Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
I mean, I purposely made it so that whole basement was enclosed in 1 hour and separated from everything else, the existing, with the 1 hour ceiling, the shaft wall. But are you saying that if we don't actually put that stair in a shaft, then,
The whole shaft enclosure is required to be 2 hours.
okay. So we'll enclose that then. We'll figure that out. Okay,
Okay. All right, good luck.
all right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm Wayne Miller, board member.
Amy Rivera, board member.
Ted August, board member.
John Dimes, Fire Code.
Deborah Richardson, Boards Administration.
Michelle Rand, Board Administration.
Case Korea, Department of License and Inspections.
Okay, anyone going to testify in the hearing, please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Jace, take it away.
All right, this is BBS case number MI-2021-004520 for 620 to 24 South 8th Street. For the record, can you please state your name?
My name is Adam Montalbano with Moto Design Shop.
Anybody else? Tell us your name.
Matt, Julie?
I apologize. Matt Tucker. I am with the 620 associates that are working on this development, and Adam's our representative.
Okay. Anybody else? Tell us your name.
Julie, we didn't hear you over the microphone. I don't think it's working.
Julie, we can't hear you. We're assuming you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
you
Julie
state your name?
Morningstar.
Okay.
Julie Morningstar with Moto Design Shop.
Okay, is that everybody?
There's
Believe
still
so.
one person connecting to audio.
Steve Holmes or S Holmes?
Yes.
Okay, when he gets in, we'll find out what his name is. Okay, who wants to proceed with the case? Go ahead.
I can give a little introduction, and then Julie's going to kind of run you through the case a little bit here. I was just going to give a little bit of background to the property, the Church of the Crucifixion. So this, as Julie will run through, the proposal here is on the Church of the Crucifixion and the adjacent parish house. It was built in 1887, and it carries a individual historic designation. The original serving archdeacon, Henry Phillips, began the ministry back in 1877 and turned the church into a leader for social outreach programs. The historical designation of the church, which came through, I think it was granted earlier this year, specifically recognized the church as one which exemplifies the church, the cultural, economic, and social, and also historical heritage of the community, something that they continue to do to this day. So the project is really a union between the church and its new partners, and Matt can speak about that, to develop the underutilized parish house into a multifamily apartment building, the proceeds of which will then provide much needed support to the continuing outreach programs that the church continues today for their mission-based outreach work. So with that, just, it's kind of important, the historical nature of this project and, its outreach mission. And then Julie can kind of run through the specifics of the variance for you here.
Okay, so the first variance that was listed on the refusal is regarding the emergency escape and rescue windows at the northwest corner. I'm going to share my screen actually. Can you see it?
No.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Is regarding, so basically, is really just about the corner, the northwest corner of this building. Sort of an existing condition. On the survey, there is this 3-foot listed alley that appears to go to Cater Street. However, the neighbor to the north has built over the alley, and this portion of the building is landlocked. So just to jump over to Sybil's plan, again, it's really, this is the alley that is now landlocked to property lines. It can't get to the rest of the property that connects to an alley going to Bainbridge. It really is landlocked from the north. Across the way is 802 Cater Street, which is currently unbuilt. And then, so really in plan, based on the unit layout, we're doing 4 units per floor. The worst case is really at this basement studio in this corner. All its windows currently would only go out and then up to that 3-foot alley. The most of the remaining units do have access either to 8th Street or to the rear, which connects to Bainbridge. And in other cases, we've sort of laid out the units to try to push the bedrooms again to this part of the rear yard, which does have access out to a public right of way. This would be the 2nd floor, is similar. There is a unit here with a bedroom that its window would again connect to that landlocked alley. It does have obviously access to 8th Street through the living space. And then just to quickly clarify, so this is this piece of the building here. This is the alley that does not exist anymore. This building, if it was to be developed, would have a rear yard, so potential to.
But
Again,
I don't think we can see what you're talking about right now.
Oh, sorry.
You're gonna have to stop the share, then reshare again.
Oh, sorry, I did it by the screen. Can you see a JPEG?
Yes.
We can see Atlas.
We see Atlas.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so this is sort of this right here, right where the arm one is basically where the corner of the building is located. Sort of another sign of Atlas. Again, this alley here does not exist anymore, but the zoning of this lot would allow for a rear yard always. So there is potentially some potential that if you needed to get out, there would be exterior space for you to go. So we're sort of looking to understand if you've come into these situations before and any recommendations of how we could deal with this.
Julie, can you go to your ground floor plan?
This is the ground floor plan.
I was just wondering if there's any way of getting a vestibule or something in that odd corner to get from the one alley to the other alley. Yeah, like in that corner. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a current existing chimney here. It's not in use anymore. And I think some of our concern again is, so another piece of history is this portion of the building was an addition. So the other portion is the 1887, and then this was added later on. So we're pretty confident that this is a pretty likely a load-bearing wall. So sort of, it's, again, it would be great if we could somehow make a passage from this 3-foot alley to our alley, but it would be a pretty big structural take to make it.
No, it's not that bad. It's
Conversely, could you get from the alley that's sort of blocked off to the backyard and then into the alley that does go south?
Yeah, Matt can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe the neighbor's really given us permission yet to sort of, scoot over here and then scoot down.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Ideally, that's what we would like to do, but I'm not sure if the neighbor will be amenable to granting us that easement.
Just real quickly, I did speak with the neighbor and they were pretty aggressive in regards to not giving up much there. So we have gone down a path of investigating that. I will leave it at that.
Okay. What else can be done?
Which level are you showing right now?
This is level 1. So actually really in this unit, there really isn't a bedroom here. It's really, I think probably the main one is the studio unit. And this is sort of, again, sort of based on the building's footprint and its existing windows. To make the project viable, we really are hitting the maximum of 4 units per floor, which is allowed by code, and we really want those 4 units per floor. And the basement obviously gets pretty tricky of getting in light. So there are these existing previous filled up window openings on this side that really do offer light for a basement unit, but they just don't offer that access to a public right of way. And we're sort of using the existing openings in this party wall currently as well.
So all of these bedrooms in the basement don't have the egress well that they need?
No, just the studio unit 3 in the rear. There will be egress wells added on A Street on both sides here.
Okay.
There's
And what
windows
about the
here,
one in the bottom left corner?
here. We will be adding a light well in the rear yard, and that will lead to the basement, the main ridge alley. So yeah, it's really just about this corner of the building. So basement is this unit. Above, this currently is more of a studio, so it could enter the front. Unit level 2, it's just this rear bedroom that doesn't have access, but again, you could enter through the living to the front of the unit. This is a studio, so that's not applicable, and then the bedroom is in the front on the top. So it's a minority of the units, and again, we do feel that we're definitely, adding a sprinkler system in the building. We're definitely making it more safe. The existing building code doesn't technically address emergency escape and rescue openings in the section of the code we're using. And it also notes that as long as you do a maximum of 4 units per floor, it can be any number of stories, which somewhat implies that if you were above 4 stories, which an emergency escape window is no longer really usable, that it would still be allowed.
Yeah, but if you're above 4 stories, then you need 2 exits. That's the reason why emergency escape isn't permitted, isn't required.
Yes, I guess our reading of the exception, though, it says any number of stories. It doesn't actually have a limit to the number of stories in the existing building code.
What is that upper left that says 1 bed, 1 den?
This is the den.
Is that unit just those 2 rooms?
This unit is the whole bar.
Oh, the whole
so you
thing,
come in
okay.
here. Yep, this would be the bedroom. This is your living with like a den office.
Okay. And the one below it is just one huge 1 bedroom? Not even, because the bedroom's not closed off. It's a studio?
This one is a 1 bedroom. And then on the ground floor, we're sort of showing it more of a studio layout. There's sort of a floor level change here.
No, the 3rd floor.
Oh,
I'm sorry, when I went below, I meant below in plan.
Sorry, the 3rd floor, yes, it's a 1 studio. The location of the unit entry sort of changes based on the stair configuration. So when possible, we were trying to make the living area up front. But depending on where the door is, some of them were better laid out as studios and to give a mix of unit types.
Are the separations between units 1 hour, or are they sometimes 2 just because of the masonry or existing conditions?
I mean, existing conditions, it is a type 3B construction, I guess you would argue, combustible floors, but obviously the exterior walls are all masonry. So being that this is a party wall, I guess you could argue in a lot of cases, it is a 2 hour between, mostly this portion. Granted, there are openings in it. But any new walls will be, per code, are only required to be a half an hour. But the stair, since it connects to the basement as well, it will be 2-hour rated.
But that upper left-hand corner it only gets out to the landlocked alley. Is that one? Which floor is that?
I'm sorry, this is level 2.
If you're level 1 of that, if you could just, yeah, I guess it's sort of mostly masonry construction, but not entirely there. Okay. Huh. And 13R sprinklers, is that what's intended?
We're actually doing NFPA 13.
13, okay.
Why don't we caucus?
Agreed.
Okay,
Yep.
Deb, Michelle, guys
Right.
in the waiting?
I'm here.
Okay,
Just 3 now. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the only way we can see doing anything is to chop off a portion of that corner to make the ability to go into that alley and get to the back street. Or you have to try to have some type of an agreement with the other people to get to that alley, to get out to the other street. The one where you showed the gate aim,
Yeah.
that goes straight out. And where does that go, to Carter Street or Cater Street?
We could see that, let me go back to that. We could see that there's a gate out to Cater Street, and the back of this house has a window and a door, so, and you're saying they built over the alleyway, but what do they have access to?
There's
I'm
that,
sorry. I mean,
So here's the back of that you're
Okay.
saying, it looks like a long time ago, got built out over the alleyway, but then there's an
yes.
access here. I can't zoom in at any other angle. That goes to your building, which is, I believe, this building.
but does it just go to somebody's backyard?
It just goes to 802 Cater Street. It's just a property. It's again, private property.
Well, yeah.
This is totally illegal, what they have going on between an air conditioner sticking out a window on a property line, a door on a property line.
Yeah, there are multiple offenses there, and obviously they've created quite a hardship for this this condition, which obviously at one time was viable, right? There was an alley, and these all had proper egress from them, and their overbuild has caused this hardship here. But so Amy, to your point, is the suggestion more the sort of internal passage like we were initially talking about, that sketch, sort of where that chimney was, to create some kind of internal hallway or something like that to get around inside the building and get to that other space? Is that
I think that's your easiest option.
Unless you can convince the neighbor with the backyard to give you an easement.
And if you did that, they wouldn't have to meet the 36 inches.
No, yeah, if you carve out that corner, I mean, we'd want 30 inches for a width.
right? At least there's some ability to get out. It wouldn't be sort of to the normal 36, right? Yeah, but at least it would get you out. Okay.
But I still think there's a bedroom or two that still don't have any window or emergency egress.
Julie, can you share the screen again and just let's take another look.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we can walk through. Actually, maybe this plan will help a bit.
Okay.
So so we're adding so these 2 units on A Street. We're putting in new egress wells and new windows. So that this bedroom here and then the studio will have access to emergency escape. We're also adding a new egress well here at the sleeping area in this 1 bedroom.
Okay.
This again goes to the rear yard to then Bainbridge Street. So it's really just in the basement. It's this studio. All its windows go to that alley to nowhere.
But if we gain access to that alley, can you add an egress well there?
Yes. If needed, we would probably get out one of these windows. You could walk around the corner of the building. And then if there was some sort of atrium here, you would connect to
Okay.
the rear yard.
Okay.
Yep.
Go to the next floor. I think it's the next floor that I noticed.
First floor.
Yeah, that sleeping room at the bottom of the plan.
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I think our argument was because this has rear yard access, so there really is two means of egress from the unit.
Jace, is that viable?
Yeah, there's two means of egress from that unit.
Okay, I thought the bedroom itself had to have a window. Okay, second floor?
Oops, I'm sorry, second floor. This is similar in that the sleeping room is recessed, but it does have access to a balcony and then connection to the fire escape.
Okay.
This sleeping unit would have access out to the rear. And then it's this unit here, its sleeping area only has window access again, but there is an existing fire escape. So ideally we would go out this window and then connect over.
Okay.
This is the front window.
All right, that's all. It was more that window, that sleeping room on the second floor that concerned me.
Okay.
Were there any other issues, Jace?
I think it was just exterior wall opening percentage.
Yeah.
We actually had one more thing. I think you sort of might have answered our question, but the alley width to Bainbridge is narrower than 36 inches. So that also generated a refusal for the project.
You know what it is?
It's a little at like your foot level, it's 28 inches, and then above like a foot, it's 32 inches.
It's basically, yeah, it's basically a condition of the sort of foundation sticking out a bit, but there's a little more room above. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
I think we'd be willing to grant that variance.
Yeah, it's certainly passable. We've been back there a few times. Yeah.
Okay. Is that it?
And then the last one was the exterior openings, as Jace mentioned. So
are they all
just to-
existing?
Yeah, they're all existing openings that are being restored. Yeah, and that was sort of part of historical discussion as well.
So you can sort of see here, and then basically this is the original opening. You can tell with the arched brick above the window. So we're really looking to open those back up, but because of our property line, we will be increasing the openings. So obviously existing openings are grandfathered in, but is it historic openings are, would those be grandfathered in? And then we are lowering the sills at this west elevation, existing width, but we're lowering them to provide Juliet balconies. Since we are sprinkling the building, we could also, look to center sprinkler heads above these openings as well.
Right.
And the west elevation faces that alleyway or the rear yard?
This piece is the alleyway, yes, and then this would be the rear yard that's wider.
Okay. Oh, and that corner is right there where we're saying lob off something at the first floor.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
Yep. It would be right. There'd be like a vestibule here.
I think that's okay.
Okay. All right.
And can you put sprinkler heads at all the openings that are too close to the property line?
Yes.
At the windows?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Those were the only 3 items.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.